The F-35 Lightning II emerged as one of the most ambitious and controversial defense projects in modern history, representing a synthesis of stealth, advanced avionics, and multi-role versatility. Its origins date back to the late 1980s and early 1990s, when the United States recognized the need to replace a diverse set of aging aircraft with a single platform that could be adapted to the needs of the Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps. The Air Force relied heavily on the F-16 Fighting Falcon, the A-10 Thunderbolt II, and in some cases older strike aircraft, while the Navy was dependent on the F-18 Hornet, and the Marine Corps maintained its fleet of AV-8B Harriers with vertical takeoff and landing ability. Maintaining these diverse fleets was costly and complicated. Each service required upgrades and replacements, and technology was advancing rapidly enough that integrating stealth and avionics into new designs became an obvious imperative. The Department of Defense launched the Joint Strike Fighter program in 1993 with a vision of developing a common fighter that would meet these needs while saving costs through shared production and design. Two main competitors emerged, Boeing's X-32 and Lockheed Martin's X-35. After rigorous evaluation and demonstration flights in the late 1990s, the Lockheed design was declared the winner in 2001, paving the way for the creation of the F-35 Lightning II. The program aimed to deliver three major variants: the F-35A for conventional takeoff and landing operations with the Air Force, the F-35B for short takeoff and vertical landing with the Marine Corps, and the F-35C with reinforced landing gear and extended wingspan for carrier operations with the Navy. It was a historic attempt to merge divergent service requirements into one airframe family, an engineering and logistical challenge unprecedented in aviation history. The name Lightning II was chosen as an homage to the P-38 Lightning of World War II and the Cold War-era English Electric Lightning, both celebrated for speed and adaptability. This was more than symbolic, as the F-35 was intended to carry forward a tradition of fighters that changed the nature of combat. It was designed not only to replace legacy systems but to ensure American and Allied air superiority in the 21st century. Yet the program quickly encountered hurdles. Development proved far more expensive and time-consuming than projected, with technical challenges surfacing in nearly every subsystem. Cost overruns ballooned the budget, making the F-35 the most expensive weapons program in history, with lifetime costs projected in the trillions of dollars. Detractors called it an overambitious boondoggle, while advocates defended it as a necessary leap to secure a technological edge. The F-35 avionics represented a radical departure from previous generations of fighters. At the heart of the aircraft was the philosophy of sensor fusion, the integration of data streams from radar, infrared SE. The true strength of the F-35 lay not in any single subsystem but in the way each element reinforced the others to create a seamless whole. Pilots who transitioned from fourth-generation aircraft often described the experience as moving from juggling separate instruments to commanding a single, unified machine. Instead of being overwhelmed with raw data, they were presented with a synthesized picture of the battlefield, enabling faster and more accurate decisions. This sensor fusion was considered by many analysts to be the greatest leap of the F-35 program, more so even than stealth. The F-35's survivability in contested environments derived from a combination of stealth, electronic warfare, and situational awareness. Its radar cross-section, achieved through careful shaping and radar-absorbent coatings, made it difficult for adversaries to detect at long range. But stealth was never absolute. As radar technology advanced, the aircraft's survival depended increasingly on the ability to detect threats first, maneuver intelligently, and deploy electronic countermeasures. The F-35 was designed to identify enemy emissions, jam hostile radars, and use its information dominance to avoid dangerous situations. Even when confronted with advanced air defense systems like the Russian S-400, the F-35's combination of stealth and electronic warfare made it a formidable penetrator. Air superiority in the 21st century requires more than dogfighting ability. The F-35 was optimized for beyond visual range engagements, where first detection and first shot are decisive. Its ability to carry long-range air-to-air missiles like the AIM-120 AMRAAM internally allowed it to strike without compromising stealth. With future upgrades, including the integration of the AIM-260 Joint Advanced Tactical Missile, the F-35's reach would expand even further. In practice, this meant that F-35 pilots often had the ability to eliminate opponents before being seen on radar. Exercises demonstrated kill ratios heavily favoring the Lightning II against fourth-generation fighters, reinforcing its value as a dominant platform in modern air combat. While stealth and beyond visual range engagements formed the core of the F-35's doctrine, the aircraft was not defenseless in close combat. It was equipped with advanced missiles like the AIM-9X Sidewinder, which could be cued by the pilot's helmet simply by looking at a target. Although its aerodynamic design was not optimized for tight-turning dogfights, the aircraft's high angle of attack capabilities and powerful engine allowed it to hold its own when necessary. Pilots emphasized that if an F-35 ended up in a dogfight, something had gone wrong in the broader tactical picture. The design philosophy was to avoid such scenarios altogether through superior awareness and long-range engagements. The avionics suite also extended into strike capabilities, giving the F-35 precision ground attack power unmatched by most contemporaries. Wit. The origins of the Sukhoi Su-57 trace back to the waning years of the Soviet Union, when military planners understood that the dominance of fourth-generation fighters like the Su-27 and MiG-29 would not last forever. In the 1980s, the Soviet Union began exploring the concept of a fifth-generation fighter to match future American platforms. The U.S. had already launched the Advanced Tactical Fighter program, which eventually led to the F-22 Raptor, the first true stealth fighter in the world. Soviet strategists recognized that allowing the United States such a lead would fundamentally undermine the balance of air power. Early concepts under the Soviet MFI, Multifunctional Frontline Fighter, and LFI, Light Frontline Fighter, projects were ambitious, but the dissolution of the USSR in 1991 brought funding shortages and political instability. The Mikoyan Design Bureau pursued the MiG 1.44 prototype, while Sukhoi developed the S-37, later known as the Su-57 Berkut, a forward-swept-wing demonstrator. Both projects provided valuable aerodynamic and materials research, but neither reached mass production. Russia's faltering economy in the 1990s prevented large-scale investment in next-generation aircraft. By the early 2000s, however, the Russian government began to restore its defense industry. A new program known as PAK-FA, Perspektivny Aviaciony Kompleks Frontovoy Aviacji, or Prospective Airborne Complex of Frontline Aviation, was initiated in 2001. The goal was clear: develop a fifth-generation fighter capable of challenging the F-22 and later the F-35. Unlike the earlier demonstrators, this project had the full backing of the Russian state and military leadership. Sukhoi was chosen as the lead design bureau, leveraging its experience with the Su-27 family. The PAK-FA emphasized three main capabilities: stealth, supermaneuverability, and multi-role versatility. Russian designers recognized that stealth was crucial for survivability in modern conflicts, but they also believed that pure stealth without kinematic superiority was insufficient. Unlike the American F-22, which was heavily optimized for radar evasion, the Russian vision favored a balance between low observability and extreme maneuverability. This philosophy was rooted in Russia's tradition of building agile fighters that excelled in dogfights, supported by powerful engines and advanced aerodynamics. The first prototype, designated T-50-1, made its maiden flight on January 29, 2010, in Komsomolsk-on-Amur. The flight marked Russia's official entry into the fifth-generation fighter race. Despite being years behind the F-22 and even the F-35, the event was celebrated as a major technological achievement. The aircraft's shape revealed its stealth features: canted tail fins, internal weapons bays, and a radar-absorbing structure. At the same time, its large planform, blended wing body, and thrust-vectoring nozzles signaled a commitment to maneuverability. The Su-57 faced numerous. The Su-57's avionics suite was conceived as one of the aircraft's defining features, intended to elevate Russian fighters from reliance on pilot skill and raw aerodynamics into the information age of warfare. At the heart of this system is the N036 Bielka radar complex, a sophisticated distributed AESA, active electronically scanned array, radar suite. Unlike the U.S. approach of concentrating radar power into a single large nose-mounted array, Russian engineers opted for a network of smaller arrays distributed across the airframe. These included a powerful frontal radar in the nose, supplemented by side-facing L-band arrays embedded in the wing roots, and additional rear-facing sensors. The purpose of this distributed system was to provide seamless 360-degree coverage, allowing the Su-57 to track multiple targets simultaneously and resist electronic jamming more effectively. The inclusion of L-band radar arrays was particularly notable. While L-band frequencies lack the resolution of higher frequency bands, they are better suited for detecting stealth aircraft, which are typically optimized against X-band radar. Russian designers believed that incorporating L-band sensors would give the Su-57 an edge in counter-stealth operations, allowing it to detect aircraft such as the F-22 or F-35 at greater ranges than Western fighters might expect. Although this approach added complexity, it reflected Russia's philosophy of combining brute force sensor coverage with technological innovation to offset disadvantages in stealth shaping. The Su-57's avionics architecture also featured sensor fusion, designed to integrate radar data, infrared search and track, information, and electronic warfare inputs into a unified picture for the pilot. The IRST system, known as the 101KS Atoll, was mounted forward of the cockpit canopy, providing passive detection of heat signatures. This capability was especially significant in Russian doctrine, which valued the ability to locate adversaries without emitting radar signals that could reveal the aircraft's position. In theory, the Su-57 could silently stalk enemy fighters at long range, then cue its missiles based on infrared tracking. In addition to radar and IRST, the Su-57 was equipped with advanced electronic warfare and countermeasures suites. The aircraft's defensive aid system included jammers, radar warning receivers, and towed decoys, all designed to complicate enemy targeting. Russian planners emphasized survivability not only through stealth but also through electronic disruption, creating multiple layers of protection. Stealth shaping was a critical but somewhat controversial aspect of the Su-57's design. Western analysts often pointed out that the aircraft lacked some of the aggressive stealth features seen on the F-35 or F-22, such as serrated edges, extensive internal coatings, and perfectly flush panel alignments. The Su-57's exposed engine nozzles and larger frontal profile suggested that its